Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. Joining me today, Dr. Alice Benton, co-author of the book I got my box and she got her box, Understanding and Loving Your Child in a Screen-Saturated World. She is now a published author. And Marc Cameron, who is not, but he's going to be. We're going to do this, Marc. And
I hope so.
Maybe the book should be How to Sound More Intelligent Than Anybody Else by Using Your Accent, but having something underneath that accent to go with it. Really great to have you on both. I always love it when you're here. It's a good combination. And if you want to join us, because you might have a question, a comment, an opinion, whatever, 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. Well, let me start by saying this. Summer is here, and some of us have kids. I have now a 14-year-old daughter and soon to have a 17-year-old son. He is 16 today, but will be 17 in August, and will finish school and go to college early. And he's amazing now. He wasn't amazing all the time. Well, we were amazed at some of the things he did. But yeah. Anyway, it's summer. Are you intentional about what you're going to do this summer? Somebody figured out that you got about 940 Saturdays with your kids, and 10 of them are right here this summer. So, intentionality. Are you guys intentional about what you have planned this summer? I shouldn't ask you that, put you on the spot, but maybe a better question is, how can we be intentional with our kids to put into them some things that might be really great and you could only do it in the summer?
Well, I have a default of being good at being intentional about work and chores and task. But even though I'm a psychologist, I'm not as good at being intentional about relationship, meaning it doesn't come easily and naturally to me. So for me to engage well with my kids, it has to be thought out, planned. I have to carve out time because I can get sucked into doing for my family by working for my family rather than getting eye-to-eye time, playfulness, relaxed time. It just doesn't come easily and naturally to me. So this is an area of weakness that I really have to put thought and prayer and planning into because the relational time is what will be most beneficial long-term, but I can lose sight of that, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Alice. I think probably for me, when I think about intentionality, I think more about intentionality about who I am. I think it's so important to make memories with your kids, but I think for me, the challenge is I think the greatest gift you can give is the gift of yourself, and just being purposeful about becoming a better parent and working on my areas of growth, I think is the biggest gift that I can give my kids.
Yeah, and there's the dilemma is a lot of folks, we're believers, going to heaven, good people, but we're not good at fully giving ourselves to another person, connecting in a redemptive way, in a restorative way. And that's something to think about. What could you do to be a better dad, better mom? And with no guilt trip, we know all about that. But really, wouldn't it be great to be intentional about, like you're saying, be a better person? And that will impact the kids. 1-800-229-3000. Calls coming in. And I'm going to talk to you about our Lumina event. If you haven't heard about it, I think you're going to be inspired by it. And then we'll go to calls after that when we finish this break. 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and I think you might have heard about it, but we are in a partnership with Museum of the Bible, and we are putting on this event for women called Lumina. And, you know, a lot of times you go to a conference and you're in an arena of 10,000, 12,000. Like Women of Faith, we'd have 18,000 women there. This is a very intimate event. And our speakers this year, pretty amazing. Jenny Allen. Now, if you don't know about Jenny Allen, New York Times best-selling author. She's a graduate of Dallas Theological Seminary. They have 4 children. She is one amazing communicator. And then Elizabeth Woodson from the Woodson Institute is going to be with us also. And then Beth Guckenberger is also going to be speaking along with Lauren McAfee. It's going to be an amazing event. The last event, I heard somebody say it was the most perfect event she'd ever been to for a woman to attend. And that really is what it was. It was amazing. And it's in November, but grab, talk to your ministry leader and say, let's get a bus going or a van or a plane. Charter a plane. That's really what we want you to do from L.A. or something. But really, it's at the museum. The auditorium's about 450 people. It's a 2-day event, and it will be fantastic. You'll hear more and more about it. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you are ready to go and want to buy a ticket this year. It's in November, and I hope and pray you'll come. You will not regret that decision. All right, let's talk to some folks here, and how about we go right there to Donna from Dayton, Ohio, and she watches us on our New Life Live YouTube channel. Donna, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing okay.
Doing
Trying to be
wonderful.
intentional.
Of course you are. Yep.
What's that? What did you say?
I said,
missed-
you're doing great. Of course you are.
Well, I'm trying to be intentional about this radio program right now, and I want to know how we could help you.
What's funny is it was almost like you're introducing my call. So I have ADHD and bipolar, and I don't lead with that because it's an excuse or whatever, but I don't know how much of that affects the way that I struggle with things. I am probably the most liked and loved person that I know. I have lots of friends. I make friends immediately. And I work in a recovery ministry, and it's kind of become a problem. I struggled with being intentional. Well, I struggled with being intentional with my family before.
Yeah.
Before I got medicated and, figured all of that out. And at this point, if I leave my phone alone for 6 or 7 hours, I'll have 87 texts.
Oh.
And people stop by my house, that not usually, but now I've got people who will stop by my house. And the other night I was sitting with my husband and kids, and one of my sponsees stopped by, and so I sat out on the porch with her until my niece left, who I don't get to spend a whole lot of time with. And I don't choose wisely. I tend to, it's all or nothing with text. Like I'll talk to people like it's a book on text. And so
Well,
I guess
let me ask you
the
this.
main-
What kind
the
of
main-
recovery ministry are you in?
Celebrate Recovery, and I facilitate we actually just started this week a Life Recovery Disordered Eating group.
Great. I have a brand new devotional on eating disorders. I'll send you a copy of it, 100 Days to Freedom.
Okay. Oh, cool. Thank you.
So it sounds like to me that the ADHD and your personality and medication continue to make you a fantastic person that attracts people. They want to engage with you. And while
And
all
at
of
that
that's
expense of
going
my
on,
family.
while all that's going on, you have a hard time setting limits or having boundaries so that you have adequate time with your family.
Yes. And the
So-
original question was, like, when I get these texts, do I need to respond to them all? Do I need to, like, put the heart or thumbs up that I got it? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like I want to give everyone time. I don't want anyone to feel left out. I don't want anyone to feel ignored.
Well, here's what I would do
I-
first, and then I want to hear
Yeah.
from Mark and Alice. But I would start to tell myself things like, I don't want to go from being one of the most loved people with so many friends and relationships and yet become hated by my family. Now, hate's a really serious word, but I see it over and
Disconnected
over
from- yeah.
again, families that hate parents because they didn't take the time. They don't say they hate them, they just act like it. And they feel neglected, they do compensating things for it, and you end up with all your kids going to recovery groups because you just couldn't say no to the beep or the click or whatever. And that's what I hope that you could modulate there, so that you are so loved by your family. Oh, and also people love and admire you, and they're not as important as your family is. That'd be a great, great transformation there. Alice, you look like you have something to say right now.
Donna, how old are your children?
One just graduated. I'm getting ready for her grad party right now, and the other one is 15. And both of them have told me that they I used to be like super duper involved with them and trying to talk to them, and they're super introverted, and they're always like, Mom, why are you asking that, Mom? And they I think that I busied myself a bit because of kind of the rejection of them not wanting to talk and not wanting to engage. And now they actually are coming to me and engaging more. So I almost feel like our relationship is better that I'm not as trying to connect with them. They come to me and connect with me, but it's starting to affect me where I'm feeling like I can't control the amount of people and conversations and stuff that are coming in.
So you're
and I'm
feeling
in
a
good
little
place right now.
You're a little overwhelmed by how
with it.
much our people are
Yeah.
contacting you. And what would your husband say if we asked him how satisfied he is with the amount of time and attention he gets with you?
He is one of the primary ones, and he's not. He used to be really critical, and he's very accepting now that we understand what's going on with my brain. And he also sees me I really am trying, and I'm really being intentional to try to be intentional, but I'm not knowing how to do that.
So your family's actually pretty satisfied right now with the amount of interaction they get with you. Is that correct?
Except for my husband. He probably would like me to be less distracted.
And is there any boundary you have for yourself, such as you don't answer texts after this time of night? Any line you have for yourself there?
I do silence my phone almost, and I tell people whenever I meet them, like, don't expect me to answer the phone when you call because so much comes in, I silence my phone so that it's not constantly pinging at me. But then sometimes if I do really good at just ignoring it, then 6 hours later I've got all these texts and I'm like, oh, I can't even respond to all of them. And some of them are kind of more crisis kind of stuff, and a lot of them are just, chatting and.
And is this your job, or is it all volunteer stuff you're doing?
Oh no, it's all just I love people, and I like to be helpful and available. And I know that I've called before, and I forget, I think it was Jackie said, "Where did you get your cookies when you were growing up?" And I'm like, that's where from the time I was born, I help people. And that's how, they saw me as annoying a lot, because of my energy level, but I was also the most helpful kid. So it balanced out.
Well, I am feeling overwhelmed hearing about how you're living your life with all these texts, and then you silence and stuff, and then now you've got to catch up. And a person can only do that for so long. And what you end up doing is giving a lot of people a little less attention, that's healthy attention, than they need. And so let me hear from Mark first. Well, what are you thinking, Mark, in this situation?
Yeah, Donna, I'm glad that you started by telling us that you have ADHD and bipolar, because I think that's helpful to know, because people who have ADHD and bipolar, they have high levels of impulsivity. And so when you have high levels of impulsivity, it's hard to kind of slow down and be intentional and schedule things. And I think you likely probably just need lots of interactions, because your brain is going probably so quickly. And so having that high levels of stimulation probably helps you kind of to pay attention, by focusing on so many different things at once. And Alice was getting somewhere here too. It sounds like, maybe your kids, because they're introverted, they could feel overwhelmed at times. And so you stepping back a little bit gives them a little bit of space. But I can see that with your husband. I'm sure he's got a job, and if he's coming home and he's expecting to spend time with you, and your phone is constantly pinging and you're constantly picking it up, I can see where he might feel a little bit rejected here too. Here's what I would say. Relationships happen on purpose. They don't happen by accident. And so what I would do is I would sit down with your husband and I would ask him, what would help him feel more loved, and see if you can come up with some boundaries there. I think Alice was picking up on something here too about maybe figuring out a time that you don't answer a certain amount of, where you don't answer your text messages. And I think you were coming up with something too, where sometimes I think you probably just do need to do the thumbs up and you don't need to respond to everything. I think if you have so many people relying on you though, you may want to cut back and see if you can have other people, take some of that load off too, because I don't think you can be the rescuer for every person.
Yeah, and
that is one thing my sponsor and I have talked to. I'm constantly like, you know what, you should connect with Tiffany. You know what, you should connect with Melissa. Like, I'm constantly trying to get people to connect with other people. I don't want anyone to show up at Celebrate Recovery and feel like nobody said hi, that nobody connected with them. I've had a lot of conversations with people who say they come in and they feel lonely, and I love to connect people too. So I'm like, I don't know. I become like, I go deep. My sponsor says that I get in bed with everybody the day that I meet them. Like I know them very well day one,
so
and then
we get
and
this.
then I'm that person for them.
Yeah, we get how all this happens. We see it a lot. And the only way it changes is an absolute commitment on your part to do it differently. And it'll benefit your husband first, and then your kids. And so that husband of yours really does deserve the best of you, not just something after people have overloaded you. Now, when I call my doctor, there's an answering thing that says, if this is an emergency, you need to dial 911. And so you might want to create an answer on your phone that says, I have limited time or something. I don't know. You can figure it out, be creative, but that it gives them some options other than waiting for you to return the call. That you've got 3, 4, like Mark's saying, 3, 4, 5 people that you could suggest call this number or that number. And then the other thing is you need to tell folks that because you are so overloaded right now because the ministry's growing and you don't have other sponsors, that you really are unable to get back to them in a timely fashion, or it may take whatever time it might take. You have to determine, I have 2 hours a day to do this, and the rest I have to be on a different schedule with different priorities. And then you're going to start to feel relief, and people are going to be happier and healthier because they're going to get the best counsel from somebody.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, June 10th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and we've had a wonderful conversation here with Donna, who is really wanting a better life while helping other people, and she's really committed to that. A final comment, Alice or Mark, to help her see the need or pull off what's needed here, which are some limits with other folks.
Donna, I think that you and I are both people pleasers. And so it feels so good to us when we help others and they're happy with us. And so to give folks a no or to be limited in our ability to serve them is really difficult, even frightening sometimes, because we don't want to disappoint other people. But as you're realizing you've spread yourself too thin and your marriage might be suffering because of it, we people pleasers have to get used to disappointing some folks in the interest of focusing on what most needs our attention in our life. It's like figuring out the best yeses that we can give. And we have to give some no's in order to be able to do that. And so getting the message out there to your people of my availability is changing. And I'll be able to respond to a limited number of texts per day because I need to focus on my marriage. It's actually giving an example to your people that you can't be the savior. You can't be the one person they depend on. You've already been setting that message up. So I think you're on the right path. Keep going in that direction so that you can nurture your marriage. And you're catching all this before it's too late. There's still time. There's still a chance to give your attention to your husband and to your children.
I like that. How did you say it about what's changing?
we're figuring out a different priority system. And so we're giving the best yeses to some things, which means we have to give no's to some other people's desires and requests of us. But it actually serves them well in the long run, so they don't become overly dependent on you, Donna.
Donna, here's the really bad news. It's hard to do this, especially with your personality. But when you do it, you will see the benefit. Mark, you have a comment?
No, I think Alice is 100% right here.
Yeah.
I think what I would say, Donna, is pick a certain amount of people who you think that you can help. Maybe that's 3, 4, or 5, and then stick to that. And everybody else, you connect out to others.
Yeah, you need a team around you. You're that kind of a recovery hero, really. And so you need a team to carry some of that burden. Also, here's a big deal about husband. I don't know how that's going, but one of the worst feelings that a husband can have is that he has a role in the family. He's a position. He's the provider, the husband guy, dude. And he's not the person anymore. He's just fulfilling a duty, and he's not getting the attention. He may never tell you he wants the attention that you're giving other people, but I'll tell you this, he will feel wonderful when he starts to get some of that attention and that time, and he becomes your priority. I think you'll see a different man start to emerge. What do you think of that?
It's what I want. It's just, and I always say I'm like really good at habits for 2 weeks. I'm really good at intentionality for 2 weeks. I have.
Well, are you getting counseling from? Do you have a counselor?
I've been 70 times so far. I've been counting.
Okay, but do they have ADHD experience?
I don't know.
You need to switch counselors, especially if you don't know. And here's what I look for, and I just got one.
She's got a lot of experience with me.
But see, you're struggling. So if you got a new counselor, and this is what I ask for. I want them to be a specialist in the clinical world on ADHD, but I also want them to be married to somebody with ADHD. And when they are, they have insights that other people don't have. You can't have it unless you live with it and you know about it. That's what I would want. In fact, if you'll hold on, let's see if we can find you one of those people. I'll send you this 100 days devotional. I think you'll love it on eating disorder. So hold on, I'll get that to you. And Donna, one day you might be running a life recovery group because you are amazing. A little too amazing to have limits. So it's a gift, but it's torture. And we don't want you to be tortured. So hang on. We'll get you some materials here that I hope will help. And right now we'll go and talk with, let's talk with John from Plano, Texas. And hey there, how are you? KWRD is your
I'm doing
station.
great. Listen, I first of all want to thank Megan, your call screener, for the great job she did. She needs to be recognized, maybe given a raise.
Well, we have that free Cadillac program going here, so we'll take care of it. Thanks for
just a little history. I remember as a 4 or 5 year old going shopping with my dad. He taught me an invaluable lesson that I use to this day. He says, son, when you're out shopping, if someone goes out of their way and help you have a great experience, do not leave that facility till you talk to their boss and make sure it's entered into their record so the next time they get a review, they'll get a bump or a promotion and pay.
It's great.
You took that lesson to heart, John.
That's really good.
I'm the oldest of 13 children. The reason I'm calling is that I thank you so much for the book that you wrote. What have you got to lose? Understand it's not in print anymore. I think it should go back in print.
Okay,
and
hold on.
Every church should have a couple of cases of this for their deliverance.
John, I love what you're saying, and I want to give you a lot of time to say it. But the music says I have to go to a break. So hold on. If you want to join us on the program, 1-800-229-3000. John's book review will continue right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and we'll do another program after this. You could join us, 1-800-229-3000. And John was talking about this book, What Have You Got to Lose? John, what was it that you had to lose? What part of you did that book benefit?
Well, in so many ways. Being the eldest of 13 children, my father returning from war, and I found this out from my youngest brother. He said, Did you ever hear what Dad said about you? I said, no, what, Gary? You know, my dad passed about 15 years ago, but he said that when he got home from combat, that I was in bed. I was an infant in bed with my mom, his spouse and girlfriend, and he made a conscious decision not to get involved with my life. Hence, I think that, and I'm not judging him, but the movie The Shack helped me with a lot of inner healing of all the abuse and beatings through the years. And I remember kneeling in the basement when my parents were in the St. Louis area and washed my dad's feet with my tears, asking him to forgive me for all the anger, rage, and bitterness that ensued after all the beatings. But I would do it all again. You know why? Because I'm driving down the road one day and the Lord whispered in my ear, he says, you know, all those beatings you took, I know it wasn't any fun being there myself, but had it not been for all of those beatings, you would not be the father of a Holy Spirit-filled Supreme Court justice today.
Oh.
And you are the father of a...
I broke down. I had to pull over. I broke down. I would do it all again without even thinking twice.
Oh,
and you're the father of a Supreme Court justice?
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. Would you be... Could we hear who it is or not?
Well, I tell you what, you got my phone number on record, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to put it out publicly because of this woke society we have.
Yeah.
And
okay.
He's had several death threats and things, and I would share that with you. I'd be glad to, and I'm just saying that. Can I share something with you to encourage your audience just real quick? I'll get out of the way.
Yeah, we were limiting encouragement this week. No, please do. Go ahead and share.
Okay, it says, when someone reaches out with a hand of kindness, think of it as God's hand. When someone shares a helpful, hopeful, or compassionate word, think of it as God's voice. And when someone expresses genuine love, think of it as God's love. And above all, when you feel inspired to reach out to others, embrace the opportunity to be God's hand in their lives.
That's wonderful. I love that.
And so
Thanks
what
for
the
sharing.
world needs today is more kind words, kind deeds. Forget the selfies. Put others' needs ahead of your own, and you'll begin to experience a new joy you've never experienced in your life.
That's really, really great. I appreciate that. By the way, when you brought up your father, you said, I can't remember what words you used, but you said, I don't want to, what was that you said? I don't want to what? My father? Judge him or?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's why the movie, when I saw the movie The Shack, that when he and his dad met in heaven and they embraced, and the dad that put all the abuse on his kid, now a grown man, said, you're the father I always wanted to be. His dad was an alcoholic and hence to abuse and beat up his son. So I understand what that feels like.
Well, the thing is, we say we don't want to judge, but you need to be sure that his guilt and shame, or guilt and shameful behaviors, are put back on him and not taken on by you. And
thank you.
We need to be truthful. And if a father is abusive, we need to say, he was abusive, it caused this in me, I've worked these many years to heal, and I hope and pray that before he died or does die, that he would be different. But sometimes as Christians, we think we're not supposed to express an opinion about a fellow believer, but yeah, we should be honest and open about things like that.
Well, I tell you what what kept my sanity was sports. That was my go-to thing. So in high school, I worked during the day, played baseball at night, and I want to share this testimony, give God the glory, and I'll get out of your way because I know you've got some hurting people waiting to talk to you.
Okay.
But as a 17-year-old, I was playing American Legion ball. I missed signing with the Yankees because I pulled a hamstring when I was 17. I pulled a hamstring the night before the Yankees got there.
Goodness.
And I figured, well, that's it for baseball. The Lord gave me visions, Steve, of wearing different Major League jerseys, going through a tunnel out under the light. Did not make any sense until 1974. I'm coming back from New York. So my passions are the Lord, medicine, and sports. I've got roughly 30 years experience in the medical field. And so coming back from New York, end up on the plane with the Rangers, have a divine appointment at 35,000 feet, sat next to a dear friend, Coach Jackie Moore, one of Billy Martin's coaches. He asked me if I'd like to throw batting practice for the team. I said, sure. He said, show up Memorial Weekend. Make a long story short, I passed the test. I became a batting practice specialist at the major league level and threw for the following teams for 22 years: Rangers, Astros, Reds, Phillies, Padres, and Oakland. The story gets better. Out of the blue in 2004, I get a letter from Cooperstown inviting me as their guest. So Ozzie Smith and I were guest speakers in the hall. July of 2004, my name's on the agenda for the Hall of Fame, Steve, and I never signed a baseball contract. But I did get confirmation from the president of Cooperstown that because of the unusual aspect of my story, it will now reside in the archives of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And so the Lord put that whole thing together.
That's just
but the irony
great.
of my sports background is I never signed a baseball contract, but I did sign one in the NFL. Can you guess who with?
I don't know.
I signed with the Cowboys in '67 as a punter. They had 300 or 400 guys in the Cotton Bowl trying to get a contract, and I was fortunate to be one of the 6. So it's been an incredible journey.
It has been, and you have a remarkable child on the Supreme Court. So,
yes,
thank you for.
And what I love about him the most, Steve, is his humility. And just like in the locker room, the cancer of the clubhouse are these cocky, arrogant people like Alex Rodriguez who think they invented themselves. But the true Hall of Famers and starters, and they know they have a gift. They stay grounded in humility. and that's the way it should be.
Thank you, John, for the reminder, too, that forgiveness and our Christian principles can bring about healing from nightmares that we have lived through, that you lived through. So thank you for that reminder, sir. God bless you.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful you called. Of course, you saying anything good about a book I wrote. I love that. But it really does seem like, John, that you have this attitude that is so for other people, and also you've resolved a lot of things for yourself. And so I'm glad you shared all that you shared here today. God bless you. And I'll give you a call about the name of your son there. All right. 1-800-229-3000. We'll do another program after this one. But right now, I want to mention to you that this weekend online is our Restore workshop. Restore, it's for a woman who has been impacted by a man who has a problem, who has an addiction even. It's a sexual integrity issue. And you've been betrayed. And you're angry. Or you're not angry enough. It goes both ways. And we can help you find peace of mind and heart at Restore. It's the beginning of the restoration of you, not necessarily the marriage. We don't know what's going to happen with the marriage, but I'll tell you this. It resolves the bitterness and the resentment that can eat you alive, that will do no harm to the other person, but just you. And we can help you see new insights so that this never, ever happens to you again. It's called Restore. And we had a webinar the other day, and so many women signed up. We still have space for you because it's online. And even though it's online, you still have private sessions with a clinical counselor who is a Christian and committed to helping women find the future that God intended for them, that some man almost destroyed. Doesn't have to be that way. And I'll tell you, I've never met somebody, and I've talked to so many women that have gone to Restore. No one's ever said, well, I wish I hadn't gone to that. Because you develop relationships, insights, direction, and you leave feeling like a full, complete human being, not second class or whatever. Some people say, well, he has the problem, why should I do something? Because you don't want to have the problem. You don't want to have his problem, and his problem becomes your big burden of anger, frustration, all of that. And you sure don't want to be enabling it ever, ever. 1-800-NEW-LIFE will tell you all about Restore. You will not regret that experience. It's a weekend of mass healing is what it is.
We went to the Intimacy and Marriage in 2019. We were both done.
This is Steve Arterburn. Do you feel like your marriage is done? New Life can help. We believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life. Our Intimacy and Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The next Intimacy and Marriage workshop is July 28th to the 30th in Washington, D.C. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more, or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to experience a new level of intimacy and have a great marriage.
The transformation phenomenal. It has transformed our lives so much.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I've been listening to New Life for many years, gone to a few workshops. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Healing, 100 Days from Freedom from Shame, and 100 Days of Freedom from Anger. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Alice Benton, the new published author of Understanding and Loving Your Child in a Screen-Saturated World. And Marc Cameron is with us here. And we're going to go to Lisa from Denver, Colorado. It says that she listens on iHeartRadio. Hello, Lisa. How are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm doing okay. Thank you for taking my call today.
Yeah, what's going on in your life today?
I'm a mom of 5. I've been a mom since I was 18 years old.
How old are your kids? Tell us the ages of your children.
The oldest is 24, and will be 24. She will be 24 in a few months. I have a 21-year-old, a 15-year-old, an 11-year-old, or a 12-year-old, and a almost 5-year-old.
Okay, well, I think we get a big, huge chunk of the picture here. So, how's all that impacting you?
I feel like all of my relationships with my children, with my husband, with friends, with my parents are all crumbling. I feel like I have unconditional love for all the people in my life, in my family. And recently I've needed some grace in some areas, and I feel like I don't have the same from any of them. And I'm just feeling very, I just don't feel like I have anywhere to go. I grew up as a pastor's kid in ministry, and I've questioned a lot of things, had to step away from a lot of things. Listening to the show, I can relate totally to, I didn't think I was a people pleaser, but maybe I was. I'm the youngest of 4, and so I've always just helped and done what I was supposed to do and given to everybody.
Yeah.
Lisa, is it pretty difficult to have needs and ask for other people to help you because you are so used to it, so good at serving others?
Is it pretty difficult to what? I'm sorry.
To ask for help and to express your needs to the people around you?
Oh, yeah. And I think that because of that, if I do ask for, I've tried recently, and I think maybe they're just so used to me not, that I'm often met with confusion, maybe.
Well,
or
Lisa, could you give us a specific example? It would help us understand. What did you go to someone with and you felt like they didn't really care or provide you with what you would have provided them with? Can you give us the issue that was going on?
Sure. So this is kind of a big issue, but I will say in my marriage, I made some mistakes with our finances. I was left in charge of everything with our finances. My husband works a pretty hard job, and he works constantly, doesn't have a lot of extra time. So because I was able to stay home, I was left to be in charge of all of those things. And I made some mistakes with how I managed our finances. And because of that, my husband decided that he thought he wanted to divorce me. And
Wow.
that's what he told me recently. now we've worked through that. But there was times in our marriage that he did things that I wasn't necessarily okay with, and there was never a point in time where I thought of leaving him. And so I would always ask him for help with our finances, and he would, kind of say, well, you're home, so you can take care of that. And I'd say, well, this isn't really working. We have 5 kids. Something has to change. And so it's a big issue, but I don't feel like I was given grace.
And Lisa, what has been his reaction to the idea of getting professional help for your marriage?
He has been open to it, but mostly it's like, oh, they're having a marriage thing at church. We can go to that. He doesn't really think that he needs help. He thinks that I need help.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. You're probably not going to be very open and honest around people that you're going to see every day at church. And
right. Well, and that was one thing I did honor, having my dad as a pastor and family as a pastor. I know that had to be hard, and it really didn't feel like we could go to them, and so we did change churches at his request.
Okay, when you called,
that was a lot of.
That was a lot of what?
Oh, it was met with a lot of angst with my family. Like, how could you leave our, our ministry, our.
Okay, I hate to interrupt you, but we're almost out of time. Okay. What did you want from us when you called about not getting the grace that you give other people? What were you hoping for? Is there a specific question about that, or just explain that?
I know it's not far-fetched for me to think that I deserve that. I guess just kind of understanding how to, because it's been this way for so long, how do I start to set those boundaries? What are realistic expectations for myself?
Yeah.
I know I set
Great
people
questions.
up to think of me as a yes person, and I'm always doing for them.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mark and Alice, she doesn't feel valued, and hearing her story, I wouldn't either. What do you think is the best direction for her?
Well, Lisa, we only have 2 minutes here. I want to direct you to a book called How We Love. I do think that you likely have a people pleaser personality, and I think that's been formed by some of the experiences that you had in childhood, growing up as a pastor's kid, having to be there in a family that's giving and giving and giving. And I think your husband owns some responsibility for leaving you with the responsibility of all of the finances at home. I mean, you have 5 kids. There's a lot going on for you to have to manage here. And I think if you wanted to divorce you over that, I think there's more happening in your marriage. And so I would direct you, I think, pick up that book. Maybe we can send you that book here, and maybe we can also put you in touch with a marriage counselor here too.
Yeah, I was just thinking that grace is an easy word to say. I'm not getting grace, but and when you react, I might divorce you over financial stuff. That's a lack of love, not just grace. Alice, your thoughts here at the end.
Lisa, I really want you to get fueled by relationship with other women.
Yeah,
and so that may be getting involved in a group or doing one of our weekends where you get connected with a community, a small group of women, because it's too risky to be assertive in your family. You risk divorce by a mistake coming to light. So no wonder you don't want to ask for help. Your marriage is at stake if you do. And so you probably need to open up first with other women, build relationships so that you have the courage and the strength to practice assertiveness, because the risks are so high.
Yeah. And I am so sorry that this husband represents men, but he doesn't represent all men. And there is hope for him, but you're going to have to ask him to get some help, and maybe our marriage intensive is one. Restores this weekend, and then we're going to do another program now, 1-800-229-3000.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800